An economist. He's previously worked for the IMF and for the Italian government. Mr. Tanzi, some people may think we're in what has been commonly called a death spiral. Unemployment's getting worse. As a result of that, people aren't spending. The economies just aren't growing. Do you see it that way?
Yeah, well, that's the reality of the situation. You know, the more important question is what do we do about it? You know, there were lots of problems which came with the bursting of the bubbles, and this problem created lots of difficulties. The bank got in trouble, then the bank did not lend, and people got scared, and people did not invest. So it's a connection of various problems which have come one after another, and the problem is, again, what we do now about it.
So what do we do now? How do we tackle this?
Well, I think that we have to realize that we are not dealing just with a crisis. You know, we are dealing with the end of a period when governments spend more and more over time, and they create more and more ambitious government programs, and put more and more people at that made a living out of the government subsidies. And as I think Mario Draghi put it a couple, 2-3 weeks ago, you know, the welfare state as we have known it in Europe really cannot go on like this, you know. And so what we are seeing now is an attempt to change the direction of the trends and go to a situation where the government becomes more efficient but also smaller. And because of that, the government can spend less, and by spending less can reduce the fiscal deficit. There will be a short-run impact of this, obviously, you know, because the aggregate demand will be affected in some way. But over the medium and long run is the only way out. I don't think that the Keynesian view that you spend more, and that by spending more you get out of this mess, it will not work.
But where is the growth going to come from? If the government, you feel, doesn't have a role in stimulating the economy, it seems as though companies are incapable of hiring more, of spending more. They're not investing either.
Well, that's why you need the major structural changes. You know, you mentioned labor market flexibility. In Italy, there was a reform which was introduced by Mario Monti, who is a very, very able guy. But unfortunately, the reform, in my judgment, did not go far enough. And there was also a reform of the pension system. And I'm not sure that the pension system has been reformed enough so that the burden of these programs comes down in the future. In other words, a lot of it has been done.
Just one thing I wanted to ask is, if you feel that with the amount of reforms we've had, and I'm thinking particularly of Italy and Spain, is there enough there to start the economy turning around, say, in the next year?
Well, one time somebody gave me an analogy. He said if somebody's drowning on 20 meters of water and you pull the person to 10 meters, the person may still drown. So the question is whether the reforms have been enough. There have been major reforms which have been done in Italy and in Spain. And Mario Monti has been very courageous. But the question still remains, what happens after Monti goes 6 months from now? And much of the discussion I hear, I listen to the Italian news all the time, I read the Italian newspaper, and much of the discussion leaves me a little bit uneasy because, the public spending has really not come down dramatically. If you look at the data from the IMF, the public spending has remained around 50% and will remain, according to their data, at 50% of GDP for the next 2-3 years. What has gone up?
I'm sorry, Professor Tanzi, we're running out of time, and I wish we could talk longer, but I have to apologise and say we have to end it there. But thank you very much indeed for joining us.